High above the desolate plains of southern Peru, there lies one of the most breathtaking and baffling enigmas in all of human history. Across miles of barren desert floor, carved into the earth with astonishing precision, are immense figures, geometric patterns, animals, spirals, and lines that stretch for kilometers. At first glance, if you were to walk through this desert, you would see nothing but shallow grooves etched into the dusty surface. But from the sky, the ground transforms into a giant canvas revealing hummingbirds with delicate wings, monkeys with coiled tails, spiders stretched impossibly long and straight lines, so perfect they seem to defy the primitive technology of the people who made them. These are the Nazca Lines, created nearly 2,000 years ago, and to this day, no one truly knows why they were made or what they were meant to say. The Nazca civilization, long vanished and little understood, left behind pottery, textiles, and evidence of complex irrigation systems. Yet, above all, they left the lines monument so vast that they cannot be fully appreciated from the ground. How could a people without airplanes or satellites create designs only visible from above? Why did they carve into a land so dry and unforgiving that survival itself was a constant battle? And most of all, who was meant to see these colossal images? The desert itself has preserved the mystery. The Nazca Plain is one of the driest places on Earth. Rain almost never falls here. The soil is covered by a layer of iron oxide-coated pebbles, giving the ground a reddish tint. When the Nazca people scraped away the top layer, they revealed a lighter-colored soil beneath. In the absence of rain and wind, these lines remained untouched for centuries, as if protected by the desert itself, waiting patiently for modern eyes to rediscover them. But rediscovery only deepened the mystery. When pilots first flew over the area in the 1920s, they were stunned. From above, they saw giant images emerge, shapes so precise, so deliberate, that they could not be dismissed as mere random paths. Some images stretched longer than the height of the Empire State Building. Others were so finely detailed that even a small error would have ruined the entire design. How did the Nazca, without a way to look down from the sky, ensure such perfection? One possibility is that they used grids and ropes, a kind of primitive surveying system. By scaling smaller drawings into larger replicas, they could create these colossal works. But even if this explains the method, it does not answer the greater question of purpose. Why would an entire culture dedicate such immense effort and precision to drawings no one on the ground could ever fully see? Some archaeologists believe the answer lies in religion. The Nazca lived in an unforgiving desert. Their survival depended entirely on water. Every drop of rainfall was precious, every source of groundwater a blessing. Many researchers argue that the lines were sacred offerings to gods of fertility and rain. The shapes of animals, hummingbirds, monkeys, whales could have represented spiritual symbols, each associated with life, water, or abundance. By carving their prayers into the earth on a massive scale, the Nazca might have hoped the gods above would look down and grant them sustenance. But there are others who argue the lines were not prayers but pathways. When examined closely, many of the lines are not merely drawings, but walkable routes wide enough for groups of people to follow. Could these have been ceremonial walkways? Perhaps entire processions of priests and villagers marched along the lines, enacting rituals to connect the earthly world with the divine. Some researchers have even suggested that by walking these paths, the Nazca may have entered trance-like states, perhaps induced by music, chanting, or even hallucinogenic plants, seeking visions or communion with higher powers. And then there are the astronomical theories. Certain lines align with the rising and setting of the sun during solstices. Others appear to point toward significant star constellations. Could the Nazca Lines have been a gigantic celestial calendar? If so, the desert itself was transformed into an observatory where the people could predict the change of seasons and the coming of rains. Imagine priests standing on the desert floor, watching the sun sink below the horizon, aligning perfectly with a line stretching for miles. To them, this may have been the will of the gods, proof that their world was connected to the cosmos. Yet, even with these theories, mysteries remain. Why so many animals? Why spirals, trapezoids, and shapes that do not seem to serve any practical purpose? And why such sheer scale when smaller symbols would have been just as effective for local rituals? Some scholars suggest that the enormity of the figures was part of the point, that by creating something vast, almost unfathomable, the Nazca demonstrated devotion on a cosmic level. But then come the theories that move beyond the realm of science and into speculation. Some researchers and many enthusiasts believe the Nazca Lines were not designed for human eyes at all. Instead, they may have been messages or markers for beings who could see from above. The precision of the lines, their massive scale, and the fact that they are visible only from the sky have led some to claim they are evidence of contact with extraterrestrial visitors. According to this view, the desert was not just a ritual space, but a kind of landing field, a place of communication between the Nazca and something beyond this world. Among the hundreds of geoglyphs, there is one that fuels this speculation more than any other. It is known as the astronaut, a strange figure with round eyes, a humanoid body, and an arm raised as if waving to the sky. While archaeologists argue it is simply a representation of a deity or spirit, others see in it a startling resemblance to modern depictions of astronauts. Could the Nazca have seen something they could not explain and carved it into the earth as a permanent record of that encounter? New technology has only added to the mystery. In recent years, drones and satellite imaging have revealed dozens of previously unknown figures, some crude and others incredibly complex. Many of these new geoglyphs are far smaller, almost like sketches compared to the grand masterpieces. This suggests the Nazca may have practiced experimenting with forms before committing to larger works. It hints at a culture that was continuously evolving in its symbolic art, driven by a purpose we still cannot define. Another intriguing theory suggests the lines may have been linked to water. Some patterns appear to correspond with underground aquifers. If true, the lines might have been markers guiding the Nazca to hidden water sources beneath the desert floor. Such a system would have been ingenious, turning sacred art into a tool for survival. Yet this explanation does not account for the sheer scale of many figures, nor their elaborate animal forms. As time passed, the Nazca people vanished. Droughts became longer, resources dwindled, and their civilization faded into the sands. But their lines remained, a permanent message to a future they could never have imagined. And here lies the greatest irony. The Nazca never saw their creations from the sky. They could never have known how breathtaking they appeared from above. Yet we, with our airplanes, satellites, and technology, can see what they could not. We are the audience to a mystery written 2,000 years ago. The Nazca Lines stand today as one of the world's greatest archaeological puzzles. Were they prayers carved into the earth, celestial calendars etched in stone, water maps guiding survival, or messages to beings beyond our understanding? Perhaps they were all of these things at once, or perhaps they were something else entirely. Something so deeply woven into the Nazca worldview that we will never fully grasp it. What is certain is that the lines remind us of how much humanity has forgotten, how many secrets still lie buried in time. And now, I want to pause for just a moment to speak directly to you. If you've stayed with me this far, you are clearly someone who loves exploring history's deepest mysteries, someone who wonders about the secrets left behind by ancient civilizations. If you are fascinated by the Nazca Lines, then I invite you to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Mysteries of Time. Your support helps us continue this journey into the shadows of history, uncovering the forgotten and the unexplained. And who knows, your comment may inspire the next mystery we investigate. Returning to the desert, imagine standing on that vast plain. The sun is setting, casting long shadows across the ground. To your eyes, the lines look like nothing but scratches in the earth. But above you, if you could only rise into the sky, the desert would transform into a massive gallery, an ancient message written on the surface of the earth itself. You would see the hummingbird stretching its wings, the monkey curling its tail, the spider waiting in stillness, and the countless lines pointing toward horizons unknown. What would you feel in that moment? Awe, confusion, or perhaps a sense that you are not alone, that someone long ago carved these symbols for eyes beyond the human realm. This is the power of the Nazca Lines. They remind us that history is not only about what we know, but about what we cannot explain. They are whispers from a vanished people carried across to millennia, asking us to look, to wonder, and to question it. The desert has preserved their secret for thousands of years, and perhaps it will continue to do so for thousands more. But every time we gaze upon those colossal figures, we come face to face with the same haunting question. What truth lies hidden beneath the lines? Thank you for joining me on this journey into the Nazca Desert and the enigma of its eternal lines. If you wish to uncover more of the world's untold secrets, from lost civilizations to forbidden knowledge, then explore our other stories here on Mysteries of Time. Because history is not just what we remembered, it's also what we have yet to understand.